I'm Joe Perry, and this is the Real Desert Dogs. We are in Anza, Borrego, leaving Agua Caliente Campground, out on an exploration. In this episode of the Desert Dogs, we find ourselves far south than our usual stomping grounds, in San Diego County of all places. On this trip, we have our two biologists, Marty Lewis and Danny Cuellar.
Here's a bug.
Archaeological site steward, Joe Perry, and myself, your host. We also have some smaller desert pups running around, and one actual dog.
What do you think, huh? You think I'm your friend or something? What you waving at? Let's keep us on. Don't block the road.
So, what is this trip that we're doing right now? Where are we going?
Well, we're going to Little Blair Valley, which I haven't been to before. But we suspect to find some archaeological evidence, because there does appear to be a water source there, as evidenced by a now dry lake. It's cooler and there's water, so that's a good possibility that we'll find something down there.
It's springtime, nice in the desert here. It's a little more green than usual. A lot of the Mojave yuccas are blossoming. A whole bunch of cholla, a whole bunch of AdKaty plants that are also blooming right now. So the desert is alive in the spring. We're in San Diego County, which it's a pretty crowded desert, to be honest. A lot of vehicles, a lot of cars on the road.
You're going birding, Marty?
I'm gonna focus a lot of my attention on birds.
Hey, you're an entomologist. Is that weird that you're doing birding stuff?
No, it's not. It's not weird, because you could be an entomologist and still work on birds. There's a lot of people who do bird regurgitation studies to see what they're eating, and a lot of times they find bugs inside their guts.
Eat it up, Smokey.
So, birds and bugs kind of go hand in hand in that sense. Bugs are everywhere. Everything eats bugs. So.
Look at this.
Wait, oh no, there's just like rabbits or something. All right, so again, like I mentioned earlier, springtime in the desert, everything's going off, everything's booming. And if you look around us, there's a whole bunch of these Mojave yuccas that are growing here, and they're starting to bloom. Now, just like everything else in the desert, rare occurrences become very, very valuable resources for some things, okay? And one of these resources for a lot of the life out here in the desert are these flowers, these blossoms that the Mojave yuccas are producing. So we went and took a look at a low-growing Mojave yucca, and we started looking in between the flowers, and lo and behold, there's a lot of bugs in and out of the flowers. They're taking advantage of the pollen, the nectar, anything else that the flower will be producing to use as food sources for these insects, and in turn the insects are then pollinating the yucca. So you got cocinellids, ladybirds, cantharids, flower-loving beetles, meloids, blister beetles. You might even have some weevils in there, but there's a whole bunch of stuff here.
Whoa, look at that. Is that asparagus?
Well, Andy, actually, yes, it is, but not quite, if that makes any sense. You see, this plant right here is known as the agave plant, a typical plant found in the southwestern American deserts. Now, it is an asparagus because it is in the Asparagaceae family, all relatives and plants that are related to asparagus. And you can quite see the demonstration of how it is related to asparagus. Here, it looks like one giant asparagus stalk. Now this, in turn, will turn into a flower all the way at the tip of the stalk, just like asparagus will do. The same asparagus that we eat on our dinner plates with barbecue, steak, and chicken.
Hey, if we grill this over a large fire, you think it'll taste good?
No.
springtime is full of life. But guess what? Death, too, is everywhere.
You're in the Anza Borrego desert. We don't just look at life, we look at death. My boy Danny over here came up on this jackrabbit skull.
Say about it.
It doesn't take long until we find our first artifacts.
Hey.
We found some mortar holes. Check this out. A nice shady spot to do some work.
It's one take, bro.
I think in the Anza Borrego they call them morteros. Morteros were used by the Kumeyaay, which was the tribe local to the region, to grind different wild foods that were gathered into a flour for a cake or mush that would later be eaten as food.
Hi, Uncle Andy.
What up, Chris?
Wanna go on? Wanna go on?
You know, just finding an obsidian. That was one of their most valuable stones to it because it works so well and very sharp. So it was prized to use. So this is just a little obsidian chip. Let's leave it where we found it.
This is the Cadillac of Stone Age technology.
The Cadillac of Stone Age.
Well, you know what I heard? Before they did laser surgery on people's eyes, their scalpels were made out of obsidian.
If you
yeah?
look at a razor blade and an obsidian flake under a microscope, the obsidian's perfectly smooth. Oh. And the razor blade
That's right,
still has jagged edges.
So
But just, I don't know. To me it looks suspicious. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep it.
it's a demon. There's the earth. There's some guy standing above it. What?
Raining.
That's another thing. Like here's the rain god making it rain onto
Well, I do know.
the plants right here.
What do they use as a...
What, you see anything in down there?
It does look like paint though.
Yeah, it looks, I don't know. It doesn't look that old.
Look, see
We don't have any wipies, man. We have to wait till we get back. Hold it till we get back to the car.
Yeah, this is.
Number 2 you can hold. Come on.
This looks like it was just made, like.
Yeah.
I can't.
Later that night, we decided to go out on a night hike and see what we can find. The desert dog's reputation apparently preceded us, and we actually wound up having a lot of people tagging along, hoping for our biologists to give informational talks in the event they found something. That happened almost immediately.
Wait. You get it? You're more willing to.
Watch out.
He's pissed right now. That's how I wasn't.
He's ready to go.
Oh, he put venom on me too. You see the wet stuff? There you go.
Dude.
Wow.
Are you crazy?
That's what he
They're
does.
chill. They're... Just as long as you don't grab it.
Yeah, exactly.
Red spotted
This is the
toad.
red spotted toad. I think the scientific name is Anaxarus mutatus. It's only found here in the deserts, eastern California, west of the Colorado River. Closely related to our western toad, Anaxarus boreas. But these guys are exclusively deserts, found in desert arroyos and dry streams and stuff like that. They usually have their eggs mixed in with Pacific tree frog and possibly California tree frog too, but pretty cool. Really, really easy to mistake for a rock, because sometimes what they do in defense is when they hear some vibration, they'll kind of turn, like they'll try to act like a rock, and you got to really watch your steps so you don't step on them. So you got to be careful. You get it too agitated, it'll pee all over you. So no, we'll put them off to the side so nobody steps on them, okay?
Alright, we found a heavily wooded area here.
Maybe occupied by Sasquatch.
Yeah. I think I heard Yeti growls.
You ever watch the documentary? They bang rocks together.
No.
Guys, this is Juncus.
Yeah.
This is indication of water right here. This plant for sure. This is a wetland plant.
Junkish.
The common name is fine. Hey guys, when you step into the water, make sure you're looking out for frogs. You know, like they actually use this stuff. So.
Yeah, you might slip on a frog.
This is the other like most common frog in California.
Mommy.
Pacific tree frog. This is the only frog that goes ribbit. We've seen these everywhere. Seen them in Panamint.
Touch it.
Seen them in. You guys probably seen these guys in beverage. So these are the ones you hear going ribbit, 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 ribbit.
I want to touch it.
Dang, your hands are all in front of the camera and everything like that. And no, just
It's like zombies.
disregarding us filming and everything.
Ripped it out of his hands. Oh, there it goes.
From my editing station at home, I'm Andrew Perry. Keep it reasonable out there.
Resting. Andy, how you feeling, man?
I think I have a little bit of altitude sickness. Every few steps I'm just out of breath. And I feel a little bit nauseous.